holding a tablet that was written thousands of years ago and being able to read what it says. It's an amazing feeling.
The very fabric of our ancient history is being rewritten, not by dusty archaeologists alone, but by the relentless power of artificial intelligence. Prepare yourself for a revelation about the Babylonians that will utterly blow your mind. This isn't hyperbole. It's the dramatic truth behind Plimpton 322.
If you see a cuneiform tablet for the first time, you're not likely to identify it as writing.
A small clay tablet whose cryptic cuneiform has just yielded a secret so profound, so unexpectedly advanced, that it forces a complete reevaluation of humanity's past. The discovery of this hidden knowledge is more than a mere breakthrough. It is a chilling glimpse into an ancient world connected to cosmic forces, and it carries a message for us all. The clay tablet that shouldn't exist. For nearly a century, a peculiar clay tablet, known officially as Plimpton 322, has been one of history's most baffling puzzles. Discovered in southern Iraq during the 1920s, close to the ruins of the ancient city of Larsa, this artifact at first glance seemed, to put it mildly, unremarkable. It was just a small, broken piece of clay, chipped around the edges, covered in the distinctive wedge-shaped marks of cuneiform script. For those seeing a cuneiform tablet for the first time, it's easy to mistake it for anything but writing. Thousands of such tablets have been recovered from Mesopotamia, many dismissed as mundane records of trade, school exercises, or administrative notes. This one, too, was initially thought to be a simple mathematical practice sheet for scribes.
It's a fascinating mathematical work that demonstrates undoubted genius. What's more, the tablet predates Hipparchus,
A kind of ancient homework for basic arithmetic. But not all things are what they seem. George Plimpton, a wealthy New York publisher and collector, acquired the tablet, and it found its way into the quiet archives of Columbia University. There, under the official designation Plimpton 322, it began its long wait. What many overlooked, or simply couldn't comprehend at the time, was the extraordinary nature of the markings upon its surface. When specialists in ancient mathematics finally examined it with painstaking care, they realized this tablet was anything but ordinary. The numbers written in the Babylonian base 60 system, a system far different from our modern base 10, were not random. They weren't the rough calculations one might expect from a student. Instead, they were precise, systematic, and arranged with a deliberate, complex purpose that no one could immediately explain. This precision alone was a wow factor, indicating a level of mathematical intent far beyond simple training. This raised a fundamental problem for scholars. If it was merely a teaching aid, why was the arrangement of numbers so incredibly sophisticated? If it was a record of practical calculations for builders or traders, why were there no titles, diagrams, or instructions to explain what these numbers referred to? For nearly 100 years, experts debated, their theories clashing like ancient armies. Some argued it represented early geometry. Others believed it was a form of astronomical record-keeping.
It really starts in ancient Greece when you've got these astronomers who are using geometry to understand the movement of celestial bodies through the night sky.
Still others, frustrated by the lack of clear answers, simply dismissed it as a meaningless list, perhaps a scribal error or an incomplete work. None of these theories, however, truly fit all the evidence. The gaps in explanation remained, a gaping chasm in our understanding. It seemed too advanced to be trivial, yet too ambiguous to fit into any known category of ancient knowledge. The tablet sat in museum drawers, a captivating enigma, defying every attempt at full comprehension. Then came the dawn of a new age, as digital technology advanced at an explosive pace, and researchers began to experiment with the incredible power of artificial intelligence. The real potential of Plimpton 322 finally started to emerge. Traditional scholarship, for all its dedication and brilliance, had simply not possessed the tools to fully decode its secrets. Something more powerful, something capable of discerning patterns invisible to the human eye, was needed. This is where AI stepped in, transforming what was once a perplexing artifact into a dramatic revelation. The thing nobody tells you is that some mysteries simply require a new kind of mind to solve them. Thinkers like Graham Hancock, for example, have often pointed to artifacts like Plimpton 322 as classic examples of what he calls out-of-place objects. He argues that history isn't a smooth, linear march of progress, but is instead marked by dramatic periods of destruction and the tragic loss of ancient knowledge. According to this view, the Babylonians might not have invented this advanced mathematics themselves. They may have inherited it, a precious heirloom passed down from a much older, now forgotten world. When scholars finally began to translate and analyze these numbers more deeply, fueled by the computational might of AI, they realized the mystery was even stranger, more mind-blowing than it first appeared. The numbers were not just unusual, they were impossibly advanced for their supposed time, a mathematical ghost from a forgotten past, revealing a sophistication that would truly blow your mind. The incredible truth about Plimpton 322 was about to shatter long-held assumptions. Numbers out of time. When researchers, now armed with cutting-edge digital tools and the emerging capabilities of AI, began to scrutinize the numbers on Plimpton 322 with renewed focus, they noticed something that made them pause, then gasp. The rows of figures were not just ordinary calculations, they were a series of Pythagorean triples. For those unfamiliar, these are sets of 3 whole numbers that perfectly describe the sides of a right-angled triangle. For example, in modern classrooms, we learn that a triangle with sides of 3, 4, and 5 units forms a perfect right angle. The Babylonians on this tablet had meticulously written down entire lists of such triples, all neatly organized in a pattern that revealed a deep, sophisticated understanding of geometry. This discovery was a wow factor of monumental proportions, especially when you consider the historical timeline. This was shocking for one simple, undeniable reason. The man largely credited with discovering and formalizing these mathematical principles, the famous Greek philosopher and mathematician Pythagoras, would not even be born for more than 1,000 years after this tablet was created. This is truly mind-bending. How could the Babylonians be using such advanced mathematics, such complex geometric principles, so far ahead of their supposed invention in ancient Greece? It was like finding a fully functional smartphone in a Roman ruin. It simply didn't fit the established narrative of historical progress. Many people are crazy about uncovering historical anomalies, but this one was staring humanity in the face for decades without full comprehension. At first, some traditional scholars tried to explain it away, suggesting it might be a mere coincidence. Perhaps the Babylonians were just listing random numbers that by chance happened to form these perfect triangles. But the more the tablet was studied, especially with the objective analytical power of AI, the clearer it became that the arrangement was undeniably deliberate. The numbers were too systematic, too carefully ordered, and too precise to be attributed to random chance. This wasn't a fluke. It was a conscious, intentional design. The scribe who carved Plimpton 322 possessed a clear and profound understanding of mathematical relationships. A level of insight that modern students often don't encounter until well into their secondary school education. The puzzle deepened even further when experts considered the numerical system in play. The tablet was written using the base 60 system, not the base 10 system we universally use today. Our base 10 system uses 10 unique digits, 0 through 9. The Babylonian base 60 system, also known as sexagesimal, used 60 symbols as its base, a method that influenced our modern measurement of time, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, and angles, 360 degrees in a circle. Working with this system to achieve such intricate mathematical results with remarkable accuracy truly makes one wonder. This suggested that they not only understood advanced geometry, but they were also incredibly skilled at manipulating these complex relationships within a numerical framework vastly different from our own. It demonstrated a flexibility and mastery of abstract thought that was simply staggering. The most shocking fact is that their system, while seemingly cumbersome to us, allowed for calculations of incredible precision. For years, scholars debated tirelessly, often without resolution, Was this tablet simply an intellectual exercise, a demonstration of abstract mathematical prowess, or did it serve some larger, more concrete, and arguably more dramatic practical purpose? The thing nobody tells you is that such discoveries often challenge the very foundations of academic fields, leading to heated discussions and dramatic reevaluations. The answer to that profound question would become the next dramatic mystery that researchers, now with AI as their formidable partner, tried desperately to solve. What secret function could such impossibly advanced ancient math truly serve? Math with a purpose. Once scholars confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt that Plimpton 322 contained advanced geometry, the next, and perhaps most urgent question screamed for an answer. What was it for? Ancient peoples, you see, did not spend months or even years painstakingly carving complex symbols into clay tablets just for the fun of it. Every single tablet that has survived from the vast, sprawling civilization of Mesopotamia usually had a clear, practical purpose. Whether it was for meticulous trade records, training scribes, religious rituals, or the intricate administration of a vast empire, there was always an intent. So, what was the undeniable, earth-shattering purpose of Plimpton 322? One prominent theory suggested it was a teaching tool. Perhaps it was used in bustling Babylonian schools to train scribes in the demanding art of mathematics. Scribes, the intellectual backbone of Babylonian society, were expected to handle extremely complex calculations for virtually everything, from measuring vast tracts of agricultural land to designing and overseeing the construction of towering temples and ziggurats. So, it made perfect sense, at least on the surface, that they might study intricate triangles. But here's where the theory began to unravel, revealing its significant weaknesses. The tablet was simply too advanced, too sophisticated to be considered beginner's work. It wasn't the kind of simple addition or subtraction sheet one might give to a novice. The numbers were presented in such an organized, sequential manner that it implied a far deeper, more nuanced understanding of geometry, not just rudimentary training. If it was truly a classroom exercise, why did it contain such incredibly advanced material that would challenge even many modern mathematicians? This was the kind of riddle that kept experts up at night. Another popular suggestion was that the tablet functioned as a kind of reference sheet for ancient builders or land surveyors. Ancient Babylon was, to put it mildly, a highly developed and incredibly ambitious society. They built awe-inspiring structures, massive temples that scraped the sky, towering ziggurats that reached toward the heavens, and incredibly complex irrigation systems that transformed arid lands into fertile fields. Builders and engineers of that era absolutely needed to accurately measure land, lay out rock-solid foundations, and ensure precise angles for their colossal constructions. It seemed perfectly reasonable that advanced geometry would play a critical role in such ambitious building projects. However, this theory also had its profound weaknesses. The tablet conspicuously did not include any labels, instructions, or diagrams that explicitly connected the intricate numbers to real-world structures or practical applications. Its layout looked far more like an abstract list of mathematical relationships than a practical guide for hard-working architects or construction crews. The most shocking fact is that a practical manual usually has clear instructions, but this tablet had none. Some scholars even went so far as to propose that the tablet was somehow related to astrology, a field where Babylonian priests often connected the movements of celestial bodies with intricate mathematical calculations. Yet again, there was absolutely no clear evidence, no definitive inscriptions to directly tie the numbers to the observed movements of stars, planets, or other cosmic phenomena. This left scholars in a deeply frustrating position. The math on the tablet was clearly purposeful, clearly meant for something important, but none of the conventional earthly explanations fit perfectly. What practical, or perhaps even profound use did the Babylonians see in recording these sophisticated Pythagorean triples millennia before Pythagoras himself? This is where the grander, more speculative, yet incredibly compelling theories come into play. Graham Hancock offered a perspective that adds another dramatic layer to this already thick mystery. He has consistently argued that ancient structures found around the world, from the monumental pyramids of Egypt to the precise stone constructions in the Americas, often exhibit a level of mathematical precision and astronomical alignment that is not easily explained by their supposed level of technological development. To Hancock, the astonishing presence of such advanced geometry in Plimpton 322 may point to something far beyond ordinary construction or simple academic curiosity. He suggested it could have been part of a much larger global system that intricately tied advanced mathematics to the cosmos, imbued with spiritual, astronomical, and potentially even prophetic significance that modern scholarship, bound by its current paradigms, struggles to recognize. The unanswered question of its true purpose has kept Plimpton 322 firmly in the dramatic spotlight for decades, beckoning a deeper investigation. If it was not merely a classroom exercise or a builder's simple tool, what was it truly recording? Artificial intelligence may have finally uncovered the shocking, mind-blowing reason, which makes us wonder, what other astonishing possibilities does this ancient artifact hold? Traces of a forgotten civilization. Here is where the story takes a dramatic, almost unbelievable turn, delving into territory that many people are crazy about: the possibility of lost civilizations and forgotten knowledge. If the Babylonians, an undeniably brilliant civilization, did not create the complex mathematical system found etched on Plimpton 322, then the truly mind-bending question becomes, where exactly did it come from? You see, normally when a groundbreaking new idea or technological advance appears in the course of human history, we can often trace its development step by step. We can meticulously chart how early alphabets slowly evolved from simpler pictographs, or how tools gradually advanced from rough stone to finely crafted metal. But with Plimpton 322, there is no visible pathway, no gradual progression. There are no earlier tablets, no crude sketches that show the Babylonians slowly, painstakingly discovering the profound principles of right-angled triangles. This incredibly sophisticated knowledge appears suddenly, almost fully formed, as if it had been passed down, whole and complete, from somewhere else entirely. This is the most shocking fact, a true historical anomaly. This startling absence of developmental stages in Babylonian mathematics gives significant weight to a theory that once seemed, to put it mildly, fringe. If they did not develop it step by step over centuries, then they must have inherited it. But inherited from whom? This is precisely where ancient myths and compelling oral traditions, often dismissed as mere fantasy, become dramatically important. Ancient Babylonian texts, rich with incredible stories, described beings known as the Akalu. These figures were said to be part human and part divine, legendary beings who emerged dramatically after a great catastrophic flood. According to these vivid legends, these Akalu brought immense wisdom to humanity, including the profound secrets of mathematics, the art of agriculture, and the gift of writing itself. Mainstream historians, in their meticulous pursuit of verifiable evidence, often dismiss these stories as purely symbolic or deeply religious narratives, not literal historical accounts. But not all things are what they seem. What if these myths, passed down through countless generations, actually preserve fragments of a real cataclysmic memory? Could they be describing the resilient survivors of an even earlier, hyper-advanced civilization, a civilization that was tragically destroyed by some monumental natural disaster, but managed to pass down its most vital knowledge to later cultures? This would certainly explain the out-of-place nature of Plimpton 322. The thing nobody tells you is that many ancient cultures across the globe share strikingly similar flood myths and tales of divine instructors, a pattern that suggests a shared, deeper historical experience. Before artificial intelligence even entered this dramatic arena, Graham Hancock, a figure widely known for challenging conventional historical narratives, had long argued a similar point. He suggests that myths from cultures across the entire planet often point back to the very same colossal event, a global cataclysm, a monumental disaster that effectively erased much of human history and sent humanity back to a kind of zero point. He dramatically connects the Babylonian Akalu legends with other powerful cultural traditions, such as the ancient Egyptian tales of Thoth, a god of wisdom and writing, or the Mesoamerican accounts of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent deity, both figures strongly associated with bringing fundamental knowledge to humanity after widespread destruction. Hancock suggests that these are not mere coincidences, but rather surviving fragments of a much larger, incredibly important story, a dramatic saga of humanity's true origins and forgotten past. In his view, Plimpton 322 may not be the product of Babylonian invention at all, but rather a precious relic, a dramatic piece of evidence from a far older, highly sophisticated civilization that was nearly lost to the relentless currents of time. The glaring lack of visible developmental stages in Babylonian mathematics certainly lends considerable weight to this mind-bending idea. If they did not meticulously create this complex system step by careful step, then the dramatic conclusion is that they must have inherited it. But the urgent question remains: inherited from whom? Could a forgotten civilization, perhaps destroyed by a cataclysmic natural disaster thousands of years earlier, have managed to preserve such crucial fragments of its knowledge, carefully passing them down to later, emerging cultures? And if so, why did they choose to encode it in abstract, complex mathematics, rather than a clear, explicit warning that everyone could understand? The possibility of such a hidden past, a dramatic saga of advanced ancient peoples, makes Plimpton 322 far more than just a mathematical curiosity. You see, it transforms the tablet from a dusty museum piece into a pivotal clue in a much larger, more profound puzzle about where human knowledge truly originates. The thing nobody tells you is that the level of trigonometry on this clay slab is something that shouldn't have existed for another 1,000 years. It describes perfect right-angled triangles with a precision that was, to put it mildly, completely out of place for its time. If this knowledge was indeed inherited, then the tablet isn't simply a Babylonian artifact. It becomes tangible, undeniable evidence of a far older, highly intelligent presence that consciously sought to leave something vital behind. What many overlooked is that this kind of math isn't just for drawing triangles in the sand. It's the exact kind of math you would need for massive engineering projects, or even more importantly, for advanced astronomy. This raises a new dramatic question that AI would soon dramatically help answer. Was this ancient knowledge limited solely to geometry, or was it intimately connected to something much larger, something perhaps even more terrifying, perhaps even the heavens themselves? Many people are crazy about the idea that this was a map, not of the Earth, but of the stars. We are on the brink of a discovery that could redefine our origins. Did humanity once lose a crucial part of its history, only for AI to bring a terrifying warning to light? Like and subscribe to uncover more hidden truths.